On March 29, 1919, the Stanley Cup Finals were canceled after just 5 games. But why was the series canceled? And which team was named the winner? The Stanley Cup is North America's oldest professional sports trophy. First awarded in 1893, it actually predates the National Hockey League. The 1919 Stanley Cup Finals featured the Montreal Canadiens, champions of the NHL, and the Seattle Metropolitans, champions of the Pacific Coast Hockey Association. All games in the series were played at the Seattle Ice Arena. The series was even after 5 games, with each team winning 2 games and 1 game ending in a scoreless tie. Before Game 6, most of Montreal's team fell ill with influenza, with 4 players hospitalized. This was alarming, as the Spanish flu pandemic, which began the previous year, was still raging. Some of Seattle's players also came down with the flu. 4 days later, one of Montreal's players died. The Montreal Gazette's headline read, "Veteran Joe Hall called by death." Montreal's owner and manager, George Kennedy, was also hospitalized. He never fully recovered and died 2 years later. The series was canceled. The only other season the Stanley Cup was not awarded was 2005 due to an NHL lockout. Following the cancellation of the series, Kennedy tried to award the cup to Seattle, but the Metropolitans refused to accept it. Today, the Stanley Cup has both teams listed for 1919. Here are other events that happened today in history. In 1806, U.S. President Thomas Jefferson authorizes the National Road, the first federally built road. In 1879, British troops defeat Zulu forces at the Battle of Kambula, turning the tide in the Zulu War. In 1929, U.S. President Herbert Hoover has a telephone installed at his desk in the White House. In 1973, 2 months after the Paris Peace Accords, the last U.S. combat troops leave South Vietnam. In 1974, the unmanned U.S. space probe Mariner 10 becomes the first to reach the planet Mercury. In 1982, Michael Jordan hits the game winner to lift North Carolina to the NCAA basketball title. In 2009, General Motors CEO Rick Wagoner is forced to resign by U.S. President Barack Obama. And now it's time for our Today in History quiz. From which classic American novel does the company Starbucks get its name? Hawthorne's The Scarlet Letter? Melville's Moby Dick? Cooper's The Last of the Mohicans? Or Twain's Huckleberry Finn? Liked learning about the 1919 Stanley Cup Finals? Then you'll love this one about the influenza pandemic that caused it to be canceled. Tap the screen to keep the story going on Today in History.